I'm so excited to be talking today with Renee Van Norman from Well Educator, and we want to be talking about teacher stress and wellness. Renee, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about Well Educator?
Sure. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be talking to you today. Well Educator was just a vision of mine after having been in the education field for over 20 years and realizing how impacted teachers are with stress in the field and how much support that they need to feel comfortable having these relationships with kids that we know is so important, and really not getting the professional development that they need to feel supported in their well-being while working in the field. There really wasn't anything to turn to within the school systems, within their programs, that was really embedded within. Maybe they could turn outside to therapists or counseling, but there wasn't anything embedded within the professional development. And so Well Educator was a creation of mine. I just started it this January. I'd been doing the trainings for probably about 5 or 6 years to various different populations in early childhood, K-12. I also did a little bit while I was a university professor in pre-service capacity. But I really wanted to branch out on my own and try doing this as a full-time job, and I've had some good reception so far. It really is designed to boost the resilience of educators that they already have within them, to strengthen the relationships between student and teacher, and really bring in some mindfulness work and flexibility, and really give an opportunity for teachers to get in touch with their why they got into the business in the first place. I think we get bogged down in the day-to-day, in some of the challenging behavior that we might see in the classroom, in the paperwork, in the curriculum, in all the initiatives that we are asked to do. And we forget maybe that we got into the business to work with kids, to play with kids, to watch the learning and the growing that's happening every day. And so I think Well Educator is really given an opportunity through the professional development workshops and the wellness communities that we're starting as virtual communities, to have teachers get in touch with that again.
Oh, nice. So Renee, tell us a little bit about teacher stress and about how mindfulness can kind of combat teacher stress.
Well, there's actually, the research says there's about 4 buckets, if you will, of teacher stress, or why teachers are stressed. There's the climate or environment stressors, whether or not the climate is a nurturing climate, if leadership is nurturing, if teachers, then that's one bucket. The other bucket is around whether or not teachers feel that they have autonomy, if they can make decisions around curriculum or initiatives and things like that. The third bucket is around whether or not they can individually manage their own stress. And the fourth bucket is around whether or not their job is demanding. And as you can imagine, in early childhood, where kids are learning, and they actually have a couple studies that support this, it is maybe the most demanding, where kids are, pre-language and learning their social emotional skills for the very first time, how to navigate, how to show independence, and also follow directions. Those demands and the challenging behavior that might come along with it are 4 areas where they're really demonstrating that educators are having that stressful reaction to. Mindfulness can really help with teachers to manage their own stress. We need other systemic measures to support those educators with the other pieces of, or those other buckets, really. Mindfulness isn't going to be able to take on those systemic changes. We need to have other conversations for that. But mindfulness around managing one's own stress and becoming present in the current moment, that research is there.
Mhm.
mindfulness and becoming present in the current moment, which is really what mindfulness is all about, and becoming present in the current moment and being able to have that relationship with the child and bringing down those stress hormones, that cortisol, and being able to co-regulate with the child is so important, especially in early childhood.
Mhm.
I don't know how you do it without that. To be honest, I don't know how you do it without that. And managing one's stress and really stopping that, urge to action or urge to react. Mindfulness can help with that. It builds in a pause when we get activated. So when we get our buttons pushed, mindfulness helps us when we practice. Now, I'm not saying this is happening overnight. When we practice and we have a practice of mindfulness, we can build in that pause so that we pause before we actually have a response rather than react to whatever's pushing our buttons. And we all get our buttons pushed, whether we're stressed or not. I know I did. And I know I still do. And so when we practice mindfulness, we actually can build in that pause before we actually can respond. And that pause doesn't have to be a long pause. It can be one breath. And that's what mindfulness can help with.
It's like that parallel process of when we're trying to teach children to regulate their emotions and to calm down when upset. If we can just get that pause in there, that seems to be kind of a key piece to it.
And I think that's why mindfulness is being taught in schools with kids. There's no reason we couldn't and shouldn't bring along the adults with that.
Yeah. So what are some of your favorite mindfulness activities, something easy that teachers can kind of do throughout the day?
Well, I want to preface this with my favorite definition of mindfulness. I'm going to read that to you. It's by Rick Hansen, and I'm going to read it because I don't want to get it wrong, even though it's very simple. And it's out of his book, Resilient, How to Grow an Unshakable Core of Calm, Strength, and Happiness. And who wouldn't want that? And it's Rick Hansen. And he writes, mindfulness means staying present in this moment as it is, moment after moment, rather than daydreaming, ruminating, or being distracted. So before, I wanted to preface when you asked about that with that definition, because I think that if we start any activity with just this moment, just this task, anything can be a mindful moment. So one of the ones I talk to teachers about, and I try to do myself, is mindful cleaning. And it doesn't mean you have to go super slow like a sloth, but you really just get your senses into it. So I happen to like water. So when I'm sanitizing things or cleaning, I do slow up a little bit and I try to take in with my five senses. And you want to be careful with smell here, of course, and taste, but you use your five senses to experience the experience of sanitizing. So when I talk to teachers about at the end of the day, when the kids are gone and you're sanitizing the toys or the classroom or what have you, just taking, before you get started, taking 3 deep breaths before you take out all the cleaners and everything like that. And then just saying, just this moment, just this task, and blocking out everything else and really getting into the movement. What does it feel like? And really staying present with that one task. So if you take that, you can use that with just about any task. The other one I really like is mindful eating. And people think, oh, I can't eat my lunch slowly. I can't, there's just no way I'm, on the run and I'm on the go. It doesn't have to be all of your lunch. It could be 3 bites of your lunch that you're eating mindfully. You're just using your senses to take in the 3 bites. So you're really chewing and experience what the textures are. This is all to build in that pause that I talked about earlier. It's all to build in that pause. The other one that I like is a grounding exercise. So When I'm heightened in stress, I like to, especially I'm thinking of early childhood environments, is a grounding exercise. So if I'm heightened in stress, my buttons have just been pushed, whatever that may be, I just like to feel my feet are on the ground. Or I use a lot of times, if it's a child pushing my buttons, I look at the size of their hands. And it's a grounding exercise of look at the size of the skills that might be in that child's hand versus the size of the skills that are in the size of my hand, if that makes any sense. There's a lot more skills in my hand than there are in that tiny hand. And that's a grounding exercise. It's a mindful exercise. It's a pause. Any number of breathing exercises could be good mindful exercises, any of those. So those are kind of my go-tos. Feeling the hair on the top of your head. Can you feel that? The other one, and I'll just end with this one as far as my favorites, is mindful supervision. So we all have to, not all, well, when we're privileged enough to have a playground or somewhere to be outside and be in doing supervision, or if we have a gym or someplace where we're doing, or even in the classroom when we're supervising and doing that head count or doing the room supervision, there's that opportunity to use our five senses to do that. So rather than just number count, what do I hear? What do I see? What do I feel? What can I smell? What can I touch? When we engage our five senses, we're really bringing ourselves into the present moment. We're bringing ourselves into ourselves and being present in that moment. So you can do that just this moment, just this task, and bring ourselves into that mindful moment. So they're not add-ons. We don't have to sit on a fancy cushion on some mountain somewhere and breathe for 10 minutes, although that would increase your practice and would increase your pause and would do very, very much good for you. And I do promote that. But we can become mindful in the things we do in our everyday routines.
Right, and to kind of wrap it all up, give us maybe your favorite resource or two or tools that are out there that teachers can access.
Sure. One of my favorites is the Insight Timer app, and it's a free app with thousands of guided meditations for anything you're looking for. If you're looking to become courageous and get out there and do something that you're fearful of, you can put in courageous as a search term, and you'll get about 5 or 6 little pick-me-ups that are guided meditations for that. It also has a timer on it if you wanted to do just sitting meditation. That's a really good one, and it's free. There's also Untangle is a podcast that I really like that has really great speakers on it, and that one goes along with an app, and I'm just going to cheat sheet here for Meditation Studio app. So those two go together. I really like the app Calm, and I know they have a free version that gives you notifications throughout the day. So if you're someone that likes little prompts throughout the day, they give you little breathing prompts and lots of little things that you can do throughout the day. Like I was talking about, notice 5 things, take a deep breath in, send loving kindness towards someone. So those are good ones that I really enjoy.
Great. Well, Renee, thank you so much. And I hope this was really helpful for everyone. All right.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.